Okay, so Rob Manfred hinted during the Little League Classic on Sunday, August 17th between the Mets and Mariners that MLB would be expanding and thus there'd be divisional realignment after the A's and Rays are both out of minor league ballparks. Now, if MLB wants to expand to 32 teams, that's fine. The NFL and NHL are already at 32 teams, as well as with the NBA potentially adding 2 more teams to bring their total to 32, most likely Las Vegas and Seattle. However, this past week, there were a flood of videos and posts across all social media of how fans and various outlets think divisional realignment would happen, and my God, I could not disagree anymore. Now, I'm going to base how I do MLB divisional realignment similar to how the NFL accomplished it in 2002 with the advent of the Texans joining the league, minus any teams jumping to the opposing league. So without further ado, here's how I do things. Now, for the sake of argument, we're going to have our expansion teams be Nashville and Montreal. Nashville because that's all I hear about these days, and apparently they're serious about it, and Montreal because if any ex-MLB market deserves to get its team back in addition to Oakland, it would be Montreal getting the Expos back. Maybe they work out a deal with the Nationals? Who knows, but it has to happen first after all. So, the divisions for both the National League and American League will consist of a North Division, East Division, South Division, and West Division, just like in the NFL. For the NL North, I'm doing Cubs, Cardinals, Brewers, and Pirates. You can't separate the Cubs and Cardinals. Doing so is a sin. Milwaukee and Pittsburgh also make sense geographical-wise, and both teams have a ton of history with both Chicago and St. Louis. NL East will be the Mets, Phillies, Nationals, and Expos. Again, geographical reasons, and I think bringing back the Expos will not only reestablish their rivalries with New York and Philadelphia, but also establish one with their predecessor, the team that was yanked away from Montreal. For the NL South, I picked the Braves, Marlins, Reds, and Rockies. The Braves and Reds for geographical reasons, and both have strong fan bases in the southern United States. Oh, and the Marlins also just so happen to play in the South too. Originally, I went with Arizona for the NL South, but went back and swapped them out with Colorado because of time zones. Phoenix during daylight savings time is in the Pacific time zone, while the state of Colorado is always in Mountain Standard Time, and it would be unfair for 3 Eastern Time teams to have to play divisional games 3 hours behind what it is at home. Yes, I know the Braves and Reds were in the NL West until 1994, but we've moved past that. And with no other suitable team for the 4th slot for the NL South, I was kinda forced into this choice. Now, with all that said, the NL West would be the Giants, Dodgers, Padres, and Diamondbacks, all 4 already being in the current NL West and during the baseball season play in the Pacific time zone. Now, the American League. The AL North will be the White Sox, Twins, Tigers, and Guardians. All make sense geographically and considering their histories among one another. AL East, that's the Yankees, Red Sox, Blue Jays, and Orioles. Same reasoning as for the AL North. The AL South, we're gonna have Nashville in there as well as the Rays, Royals, and Astros. Admittedly, putting this one together felt more like a hodgepodge than the NL South, as outside of a few playoff appearances among the 3 established teams, they don't have the historic rivalries like in the other divisions. Of course, Nashville had to be in a southern division as well as Tampa Bay. Kansas City is the most southern of the 5 current AL Central teams, so that's why they got moved here as opposed to Cleveland, for instance. And lastly, I chose Houston because while they have established rivalries within the current AL West and not just with their in-state rival, their rivalries with the A's, Angels, and Mariners are still only 12 years old. And let's be frank, the rivalries among the other 4 AL West teams have been going on for a lifetime, so Houston got relegated to the South. I guess it's kind of similar to how the Seahawks got to be the AFC team to move to the NFC, as the rivalries among the Chiefs, Raiders, Broncos, and Chargers had been going on for longer than Seattle had existed. And to top it off, the AL West will be how it was from 1994 to 2012, consisting of the Rangers, Angels, Athletics, and Mariners. Now, I know this may contradict my point about time zones that I made in the NL South section, since Dallas is in the Central Time Zone, while Anaheim, Seattle, and Sacramento/Las Vegas are all in the Pacific Time Zone, but these are historic rivalries. It's the same reason the Chiefs still remain the AFC West despite sharing it with a Mountain Standard Time team and 2 Pacific Standard Time teams. So that's how I do MLB expansion. I would have gotten this out much sooner, but I was out of town for work and didn't have Wi-Fi Wi-Fi at my hotel because they wanted $12 per day for Wi-Fi. Never gonna happen. I just wanted to get my thoughts out there after seeing people wanting to see the Cubs and White Sox in the same division, or the Yankees and Mets in the same division, and setting my OCD off. Will realignment be exactly how I predict it? Doubt it. All I can hope for is that it's close to what I thought of. Hell, MLB might even want to try Charlotte or Portland before they try Montreal again, which would be a shame, but they are a business after all, and there's nothing a lowly peasant like me can do about it. Now, if MLB were to choose Charlotte over Montreal after Nashville, I'd have the Braves in the NL East because of their history with the Mets and Phillies, while Charlotte goes to the NL South. Honestly, I don't want to be here all day rattling off these different combinations of Nashville, Charlotte, Portland, or Salt Lake City. Just let me have my fun. I've also kicked around ideas to tackle division realignment for the NHL as well, since 8 teams per division is complete overkill. Yes, I'm aware that the divisions don't mean as much in their playoff seeding, but still, 8 teams per division? That's ridiculous. So anyways, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications, as well as liking and commenting on top of following my X and TikTok. Catch you next time.